I started doing this video earlier, and it's funny because then several things, a series of fortunate events happened, and it was like awesome. So I paused it, and I figured I'd come back to it because what's that? There's an important spiritual lesson that I learned about 19 months ago. Is like I'm not taking life that seriously, which doesn't mean you don't take anything seriously. It's just sometimes we get into a state, especially as earth signs, of taking things far too seriously, right? So go with the flow, right? Like if you watched the last video I did, like think about the journal prompt, like what can you, how can you benefit from allowing change, right? um, in any case, the the song sync, I asked for some cards with it and I've been looking at them. There's a lot of interesting things coming in, right? So the song sync is Have You Ever Seen the Rain? And it's a song that it's particular for me, and I'm going to do some messages in the members only section, teaching some of the music magic that I've learned to do, the song magic. But for right now, what I can say is oftentimes when you have kind of a heart song, you probably have many that you've listened to a lot, when something that you could and or should pay attention to is coming up, usually spirit will use that music. It'll play it back to you, right? I have playlists that I do this with, and spirit will play them back to me, and then I kind of know, oh, this is what's coming, or that's what's coming, or this is the energy of things going on right now. And one of them is Have You Seen the Rain, which has a lot of there's a lot of nostalgia in it. There's also some, was it love and pain, sunshine and rain, right? Like there's a lot of emotion in it. And it's funny too, because that's another song that like syncs up with weather stuff, also with storm type stuff, right? And so one of my favorite things to do too, where you can often get more information, is like when you keep hearing a certain song, whether it's a heart song that you started or it's a new song to you, look up what the lyrics mean. And you'll usually see several things. You might see like an interview from the artist or the person that wrote it and sold it to the band that you've heard play it, and they had certain meanings. The performers might give it certain meanings, and then other people will often write their own interpretations, right? Like I actually read this really fascinating thing of it was someone who teaches English language on a blog, and it's funny, the truck just passed by that said Pure Wall. I thought it said funeral, but it said Pure Wall. Anyways, like it's one of those things to where like he was explaining for non-native English speakers what the different metaphors and similes and things meant in the song, right? And for him, what it meant was somebody who was singing about how like there are ups and downs in life, and sometimes the ups feel bad and the downs feel good, and sometimes we just have to kind of ride through the storm. Sometimes you just recognize that there will be calm, peaceful moments in your life, and then there will be stormy moments, and you just kind of, through the circle, fast and slow. And I really appreciated that. And then I went and looked up, what did the artist mean? What did John Fogerty mean, right? And he clearly said it was a song. It's interesting because, especially if you're on the twin flame journey, I think this is relevant. It's a song that was about an impending band breakup, right? They were going to lose one of the members of their band. It had been coming, like it's basically a breakup song, which like by the words of the song and the feel of the song, I wouldn't have originally guessed that, right? And so now knowing that, it's like, oh, that's interesting. So when I sing that song, it's a combination of like, you got to roll with things sometimes. You got to roll with the way that life is. And then also it's a breakup song. Like, and so if Spirit's playing it back to me, it's probably, some combination of that, like, right. It's recognize that there's a calm and then there's a storm. Recognize that, life is, it's not quite a circle. It's more like cycles. If you watch some of my oldest videos, I already go into that, the spiral cycles, right? But either way, like, I don't know, it's one of those things to think about. Okay, like, what am I calling in with this, and what's the message coming to me from this? And also, it gave me some insight to, like, the people that I heard that song from, and especially one person that's really meaningful to me that really liked that song. Like, I don't know that they even knew what the song fully meant. And it's interesting that, like, they probably had a different interpretation, but that's the kind of energy that they were calling in combination with what they thought it was, right? So I pulled a couple of cards, and I just asked for, some additional clarity on this, because this is just going to be a short video. And what I got was interesting. It was card Lakshmi, the goddess deity Lakshmi, and Gemini. And I'm going to read to you from the book, because I love these little interpretations. And, like, I mean, I have my own meanings for things that that I believe that they mean. But right now, I'm just feeling really called to go by the book, right? All right, so card 51, which would be a 6, which is funny because that's Gemini energy, right? Gemini, I speak my truth. With curiosity surging, the twins run hand in hand through the open-aired field. The pair was created to explore the world together. If there is one thing for certain, the two will find out whatever they can and share their truth with others. Gemini is the embodiment of inquisition and truth. This sign taps into the desire to grow and expand the mind, from personal thoughts down to absorbing knowledge from a new book or podcast. Gemini is here to remind you that there is an opportunity to always uncover more. Dive into your passions and topics that you care deeply about and learn all that you can. Gemini wants you to understand that with knowledge comes the ability to create positive change. And when you speak your truth, there is much power to be held. Journal prompt. What topics would you like to learn more about? And I love it too, because it's like this combination of, it's time to speak your truth, right? Speak it. And then also, like, so very Geminian, what do you want to learn about? Right? Like, so it's like, what's stuck in your craw? What's stuck in your throat chakra? What do you got to say that just feels like your truth, that you got to speak it, right? Speak it. It's a good, especially if you're feeling resonant with the song sync of, Have You Seen the Rain? Because they do fit together, right? Also, you may have one or many Geminis in your life, or may have some Gemini in your chart or things like that. So it might have to do with that. And it does also, even though the twins are siblings in that, it does match up with the with twin flame stuff, and it does also match up with the notion of breakup, right? And typically, I mean, because 51 equals 6, and that goes to the Lovers card, most people associate the Lovers card with the relationship, when actually it's meant to be a relationship with the divine, right? It's a three-way, right? But it's actually much more associated with business. The Two of Cups is usually more associated with a romantic relationship, but sometimes as humans, we can blur the lines. So there might be something to do with a relationship that maybe on the outside or on paper is, romantic, but it's actually just about business, right? And then we'll look at Lakshmi. I loved the meaning of this card too. It's number 7, so it's Chariot, victory stuff. Lakshmi, abundance can be found everywhere in life. And I do know she's a Hindu goddess of abundance too, and like prosperity and other things too, but like that's one of the most known ones. So Lakshmi is the Hindu goddess of beauty, fertility, and fortune. Her forearms symbolize Dharma, which is morals, Artha, pursuing wealth, Kama, emotional fulfillment, and Moksha, liberation or enlightenment. The lotus is her signature flower, which symbolizes purity and rebirth. Lakshmi encourages you to look at all of the ways that abundance could come to you. Life's riches come in many forms and don't just include monetary wealth. Abundance can look like a healthy life, feeling loved and appreciated, and obtaining the goals you've set for yourself. No matter where you are in life, Lakshmi calls for you to give thanks for everything that you have. Gratitude helps to create awareness and inspires you to appreciate the present moment. Journal prompt. When was the last time I expressed true gratitude? Right? That's always a good question. When was the last time I expressed true gratitude, right? I'm going to sit and think about that myself. But what I see with that too, though, is like, I feel like for those of you that are watching this, like you're probably a little more removed from whatever the bigger drama is, I guess, if you want to call it that, the bigger conflicts. Like, it feels like those in alignment with my collective are a lot calmer. And it may be like, maybe you right now you have an opening, an opportunity to work on personal goals and work on gratitude, and like maybe build your purse, you know. Just remember to stay in alignment with recognizing that, like, you know, if you're not happy without money, you're not going to be happy with money. But in this world, definitely money can help make things easier in terms of less stress, you know. And like, but you still got to be able to handle that stress, baby, on your own. You're like, if you don't feel less stressed when you could just sit in a park by yourself and watch the birds, then you're not going to feel less stressed when you got $100 in your pocket, you know. Like, it's, at least it's not going to last, because then you're going to go spend that, and then what? Then you're stressed again, right? So try not to let your inner peace be attached to things that are like sand, that are so, I mean, they're, you know, they're in and out, right? It's like saying you'll only ever be happy when it rains, but which I think is another song, isn't it? She's only happy when it rains, something like that. There's a lot of themes with weather. I think there's definitely stuff coming up. Anyways, please comment below. Let me know what you think of this video, what resonated for you, things like that. And I'll check you in the next video.